All right. So, just as the title says, Trump ignored a judge's ruling. What does this actually reveal to all of us? Which I think most people don't know. So, let's go over it. I'm gonna read it off here. All right. So, I have a written version of this information right here. The information right here, and the news right here. This weekend's deportation case revealed something much deeper than politics. It exposed a powerful truth about jurisdiction and the layered structure of authority in this system. Now, the Trump administration refused to comply with federal judges' order to return planes carrying deportees. Their reasoning that the court's authority ceased once the aircraft were beyond U.S. borders over international waters. In doing so, they leaned on the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which gives the executive branch powers that operate outside the boundaries of normal judicial oversight. Now, for those of you who are familiar with your native ancestry and the amount of work that several tribes put to establish their nations within other nations on the land that is freely available to all of us. Okay, well, you have to if you've been doing your due diligence, if you've been studying, you will know that what he did is not just a political move; it's a real-time demonstration of what many of us have been saying for years. Okay, what have we been saying for years? That we are free. Divinity freedom is a natural birthright. Okay, and so is abundance. Okay, and jurisdictions vary. All right, they vary. Just as we differentiate between private Americans and U.S. citizens, each standing in a different jurisdiction with distinct sets of rights. The Trump administration was asserting its own separate jurisdictional authority, one the courts couldn't touch. Okay, now this is the very even the White House. This they declared that federal courts have no jurisdiction over the president's conduct of foreign affairs. Foreign affairs, meaning there are people who do business with entities from all over the world. Something in the Bible, there's a verse that says, "You will lend to many nations and owe none." But yet there is a nation that also is built on this principle, but somehow, I swear to God, I would say it, domestic terrorists saw the system, look at the businessmen, domestic terrorists acting in business, using business, and they created this illusion of what the system and how the system actually works. The system, the Constitution defends your sovereignty. The Supreme Court has defended it. And when it comes to finance, in the world of finance, we have full faith and credit. There is no need for profit, as I have mentioned in my videos. In fact, profit can be used to balance the books in the United States because a lot of businesses here are doing business with the United States. Some businesses are just doing business with the United States private, some are private and public. The United States has private and public, just as any other business that is private. They are essentially a private and public partnership. So there's both happening. And of course, divinely so, because people having a private property can only do so much. All right. In other words, people can't claim this land is mine and mine alone. No, this land, what's that song? This land is your land. This land is my. All right, pardon the brief disconnect. So as I was saying, that song, that song says, "This land is your land. This land is my land. This land was made for you and me." That holds a lot of truth. All right. No one owns no part of Earth. Their power, everyone has the same power, and how much power they choose to gather, for example, people, depends on your connection, your relationship. Right. So, what is the key truth that you guys should get from all of this? Okay? What's the main principle? PLE. The main principle should help you realize that our status is free, sovereign, not sovereign citizen. Okay? Our true essence is sovereign, free, sovereignty, private individuals, not subjects of statutory codes or commercial regulations. As many people have said before, a lot of crimes are just commercial crimes because if no one really got hurt, okay, physically, the majority of stuff is just commercial. Duh. And here's something else very important to note. Since the landmark Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case, federal common law was essentially wiped off the map. What we're left with are trust based and contractual systems, primarily managed under the Emergency Banking Act. How many of us have heard about that? How many of us have heard about housing resolution? How many of us have heard about full faith and credit? And so, if you cannot connect, you should be able to connect the dots and realize that, holy moly, they're mentioning things that people who are talking about consumer law and infinite credit have mentioned, and the Uniform Commercial Code, which operate under military and commercial jurisdictions. Hello. The key truth, these statutes and codes are offers, not absolute laws. I've mediated and I have put many people acting under color of law, especially trying to get in and interfere with me and my service animal. All right, my best friend. All right, my kahu and I her kahu, Rosie. Okay, I have to do that today. And I told the supervisor of the person working with this major conglomerate security agency that's also responsible for swindling money from the UK. That's also responsible for one of the for the event that happened at Post with the shooter. That's also responsible, supposedly, according to certain resources, that they swindled money from the FBI. Hmm. So what's the key truth again? These are offers, they're not absolute laws. You are free. You were always free. You were always abundant. Credit and money are constructs, all right, reflecting something that in essence is abundant. But we get lost in it, and we have been programmed by greedy, ego driven, probably traumatically hurt bureaucrats, businessmen, influencing or trying to influence politics, thinking they can just buy things out. But look where we are, ladies and gentlemen, how many people are becoming more wise to what's actually going on and the abundance that we actually all have. So this is why I say get together with people we work with, because one thing that some people can definitely learn from some of these groups, all right, be it the Trump administration, be it the FBI, be it the Department of Defense agencies and contractors. One thing that is true is that they come together in certain aspects and work together. Why aren't y'all? Well, why aren't some? Can't say y'all because I don't really know you. All right, don't know y'all like that. But I do know that there are definitely people who don't work together. They got this competition mentality. It's like, so stupid, man. Like, competition for what? When everyone can have and do and be whatever they want. Okay? With respect to life too. Remember, animals are friends, not food. Okay? So here's the thing: when you unknowingly accept offers by signature, silence, or submission, you waive your deeper equitable rights rooted in sovereignty, natural law, and personal freedom. See, Trump spoke on sovereignty for a reason that day when he had the Congress or whatever, and asked that guy to be escorted out. Okay, and he said to Greenland, and he mentioned sovereignty because at the core of this entire reality, all people are free. Nature provides in abundance, and overproduction of materials, for example, cars and all these other things, is a symptom of disconnection, not necessity. And it comes from this this scarcity mentality that there's not enough, there's not enough. Basically, people operating not at full capacity, not understanding that credit is infinite, finance is infinite. You don't need profit. Okay. So that's why I really do hope. I really am putting my best foot forward that with the event that I'm having, the big music event, I am able to help balance these books. All right. So no one feels in debt. I mean, people, because honestly speaking, people can just kind of start over and start fresh. Nothing, you don't have to limit yourself by the debt. What debt? Just start fresh. But hey, maybe that's what those tariffs are for, to be able to do that, start fresh, and everyone gets their promised pay, and we move on, and we start creating new relationships across the world, international and national, as it's always been going on, and as other people have come to understand. So, regardless of political learnings, this moment reminds us that the real power lies in remembering who we are and in which jurisdiction we stand. And honestly speaking, we stand on the jurisdiction of the land, earth, freedom, the divinity, life, love. Okay? A very powerful force that we all are vessels for. Now, that being said, you may join the mega project. Okay? This TR3B thing that people are talking about, oh my god, dude. Like, I get it. Like, I said it before, I get it, the defense application, but there are greener applications, efficient applications too. And if you have, for the United States, all right, business, I recommend United States business, you know, aside from teaching people about their, or helping people realize about their private side, their free side, and their infinite abundance and finance side and nature, because we have to be rooted and grounded in nature. Aside from that, you can teach, you can help different all kinds of people, all the people of the nation, all the American people of the nation, create and live in abundance. And as far as national security, the security of the land, with the mega project, to the global scale, and with what I'm talking about, and especially these suits and these other things I'm working to basically help people tap into their true power and our mock battles, all right, global, international, and national. Oh, trust me, the land, earth, wherever we are living and experiencing and commercing at. We do these things that I'm offering the world, and yeah, the nation is going to be filled of many ready warriors. No one's going to, still nobody will mess with America, all right? Nobody will mess with no other country either, all right? This balance already exists. Some people get it, some people don't, okay? But it already exists. And now, since the power has returned to the people, finally, for so long, after so long, now we can move forward with more firmness, steadiness, patience, and trusting life, love. And again, like I said, remember animals are friends, not food. Namaste.